I find this interview with the president of Sony to be absolutely fascinating. He basically says that Japan has reached adulthood when it came to entertainment and that America is culturally backwards. He basically says that in Japan, people have the ability of separating fact from fiction. And in Japan, they believe they have a more just society because they don't punish people for thinking. They don't thought police people. They punish action. They do not punish people that may potentially cause problems. If someone causes something, then they get punished. But until they cause that thing, society believes that it's more acceptable to live a little bit dangerously because the price is what America is paying for right now. And what I mean by this is if you look at Western entertainment, you notice that everything is sanitized, everything is corporate, nothing is profitable anymore, nothing is making money, nothing is moving. There's no interesting things coming from Disney, no interesting things coming from the comic book sector, no interesting things coming from the video game sector. And it's all due to this hyper awareness sanitization culture of safetyism, of we need to make sure that art doesn't push boundaries too much because then it influences society negatively. And unfortunately, according to the president of Sony, he is saying that the West is forcing Japan to be like them. Probably because of jealousy, probably because of competition. Like, you cannot compete with a cultural juggernaut that is like the Renaissance and allows freedom of expression, while your country is backwards and you're hyper obsessed with the size of tits. You're hyper obsessed with anything that's fan service. You're constantly hiring people to make sure that Tifa's breasts aren't too large. Like, that's not art. That's bureaucracy. That's choking the artist. That's strangling creativity. The perfect example that I can think of is Mortal Kombat at Midway. There were two individuals responsible for making the first Mortal Kombat games, the most memorable ones. One of them was Ed Boon, and the other one was Tobias. And for those of you who don't know, Tobias was the one that focused more on the lore, on the background, on the characters, the story. And the other guy, he liked to focus a lot on the gore, the violence, and the blood. And so when one of them left, you notice what happened. The story of Mortal Kombat, especially the one in the last game, is incredibly obnoxious with multiverses. All the characters aren't interesting. There's nothing there of substance. There's no femininity anymore. Like, all sensuality and sexuality is robbed from a game that was pretty much the cornerstone of tits and violence. And so all you're left with is toilet humor and a lot of gore. And that's pretty much what American culture is nowadays. Toilet humor and a lot of gore everywhere. And so I don't know if it's going to make a return or not, but the main problem that you get to see in this interview is that a lot of American business partners that work with Japan are demanding editorial over the video games from Japan. So basically, they're demanding that you make some bizarre changes. The faces of female characters, they need to look awful. The breasts of female characters need to be shrink. They're not even consistent with what they're making or having a coherent ideology. Like, for instance, a video game like The Last of Us 2 or Baldur's Gate can have actual pornography in them. Like, you can actually have sex with demons, sex with bears. You can have all that stuff. But the moment you have, like, a high school romance that doesn't even have any pornography in it, they don't like that. The censors immediately step in, payment processors pull off, right? And so, like, the entire world now has to pretty much bend to American sensibilities that Americans themselves don't like it. Because you look at the market, right? Like people aren't buying it. People aren't interested in it. You have, like, loud vocal minorities on social media claiming that this is actually a good thing, that this improves society, that this is the way to live. But people don't buy that stuff, you know? Like, no one is interested. People are looking at alternatives. And now that Japan is under siege, from the cultural vandals, people are buying from China. People are buying from South Korea. People are desperately fleeing this morality. You know, you have intellectuals that say they know what's good for society, and people are fleeing away from them like rats. And this is the reality that we live in. I don't know how long it will last, but I think it started with 2015, 2016. Up until that point, you know, most people understood if you play a violent video game, you're not a violent person. If you play something with gore and guts, if you like to watch slasher films, you're not an actual psychopath. Like, people understood, you know, there is escapism, there is imagination. People like to imagine doing bad shit. You know, you're in a car and someone screams at you and you imagine that you're going to punch them, but you're not. Right? Like, people have self-control. Like in their brain, they can imagine doing nasty stuff, but that doesn't mean that they're going to actually do it. But in America, they decided, no, we're going to police the thought. Like, if you even think about it, if you even think about punching someone, if you even watch something disturbing or degenerate, then you are a degenerate. If you're a person that writes something degenerate, then you are a degenerate, right? And that's fine if they want to live like that, but they force everyone else to live it. And as I said, people are running like rats away from them, not buying the product, not interested in anything. And so you end up with these business partners in Japan being forced to cater to American sensibilities. And it's not only outside. Like, apparently, if you make a game in Japan that has problematic content that Americans don't like, when you make another game and you're the same company or the same developer and you want to ship it overseas, they say no. And so this happened a lot during the Biden administration. It seems that there is a huge cultural push to try and change Japan. It probably is happening because of lobbying from Disney, probably because of lobbying from China. I don't know why, but it clearly doesn't make a better society. I mean, we've been living with these new morals for the last 10 years. Hasn't improved society whatsoever. It makes people feel righteous. It makes some people feel good. It promotes cancel culture and call-out culture. But I don't see any change. I don't see any benefit in having to live like this. And the fact that I need to go on Steam and play games from 20 years ago just to have some entertainment. And all of it started with feminism. Like, everyone that I know dislikes feminism, but at the same time, everyone has some of the principles, some of the cornerstones and pillars of culture that they built up. Like the idea that art actually influences you, that by having it in art normalizes it. And, you know, like, it's fine. Let's assume that having something in art normalizes it. How much does it normalize it? Like, what is the percentage? Is there a percentage that we can accept? Like, for instance, if violence video games causes an increase in 0.5% of violence in society, should we now get rid of every single violent video game, get rid of our entertainment just because, you know, it creates this very minimal improvement? I don't think so. You know, I think that people need the circus. I think that people need to relax. And I think that simply purging all of our artistic creativity and destroying our soft power in exchange for some hypothetical good, I don't think it's worth it. And so I'm looking forward for all these corporations and all these gatekeepers and all these politicians that are constantly trying to suppress human creativity to finally lose all their power. Because nothing fights against the test of time. They can struggle, they can force Japan to ban, they can force their censorship and their narrow views on Japan, but they can't do it around the entire world. They can't do it to China, they can't do it to South Korea, and if they try, they're going to just have to play a game of whack-a-mole. And I think like that's the future for the next 10 years, you know? If you want to get sad, just look at the games that are coming out this year and realize that this is the hallmark of this type of culture. It's the hallmark of the destruction of any type of artistic creativity. No wonder the AI is taking over, right? A lot of artists are upset because of AI. I understand where they're coming from, but people want to see circus. People want to be entertained. And if society doesn't provide it for them, then eventually they're going to turn on to AI. They're going to have their own AI on their private laptop. And I guess this is the future. It's very sad, but this is what censorship brings. It doesn't change people's minds. It just delays the inevitable. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.